Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strike Zone with St. Paul Saints Manager George Tsamis. Strike Zone is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the St. Paul skipper questions about the Saints, baseball, or sports in general, or just seek George's wisdom about life events that are going on. We have an exciting program for you this week as George talks to us about the final days of spring training and the tough decisions he's had to make to build the squad. He shares his baseball insights with us, and George talks to us a little bit about whose hairstyle he liked best. So let's get right to Strike Zone.
So let us welcome back Manager George Tsamis this week. George, before we get into the show, I just want to mention that this is the 50th episode. So how is it that you were able to put up with me this long?
We're doing good. We're rolling along here. No fights, no arguments. It's all good.
Well, that's good to hear. I think I'd be afraid to fight with you, so that's good to hear. So let's get our team updates from you for this week.
Okay. Yeah, this week we have just yesterday, it was a tough move for us too, but we had too many veterans in camp, and so we had to trade Michael Burgess to get him the Atlantic League, York in the Atlantic League, to a real good place, and he deserved to stay with us too. He's a great kid and big left-handed bat. That's probably going to hit 15 plus home runs, and it's just too bad with the vet rule that we couldn't keep all of them. And we were all set with our veterans. We had 5 veterans, but then when Tonko got released from the Dodgers and he came back in the picture, it kind of put us one over, and we tried a few things, and it was tough to trade him. But he's a great kid. He handled it very professionally, and I hope he goes over there and has a great year. We did acquire John Straka in a trade. He's a local kid. He lives in Chaska, Minnesota, and it's something we've been working on for a long time. So he was one of the better starters in the league last year, and it took a long time to get it done, but John Straka is now with us, and we feel that we have, with Straka and Hamburger, Cohen, Shields, we feel we have 4 pretty good starters there, and the 5th starter job is still up in the air, and we're glad to have Straka with us, and we needed a rookie, so we signed Cody Knaus from Concordia St. Paul. I went and watched him throw one game, and he was recommended highly by one of our ex-players who was a coach there, Steve Butler, recommended him, and we called him the other day. He called me back an hour later and was pitching that night for us, and we like guys like that are ready to go, and I'll give his chance, and then we'll see what he can do in this league. And then Gene Escat, who we camp on being one of the, a big reliever for us down in the pen, got a job in Mexico, and he will be leaving to go to Mexico. And again, you can never blame him because the money he's making there is 4 or 5 times as much as we were paying him.
I know it's difficult to make these final moves, especially as you're approaching right as the season is coming together. So can you share with us a little bit about what it's been like for you these last few days?
It's been tough because I've been very worried about the veteran thing, and not sure how it was going to play out. And again, when you commit to a guy, especially an older veteran guy, you try to stick with him, and so that right there has been a tough thing the last few days, and not knowing what the move would be. And but again, we got him a good job at a good place.
Now, Tony Caldwell, who you brought in to be your catcher, threw out, I think, 3 guys over the last 2 preseason games, hitting well in the preseason. I even thought it was interesting that he was the first guy to homer in the preseason at CHS Field, which was Vinny DeFazio was the first guy to do that last season. You got to be feeling pretty good about him behind the plate for you for 65, 70 games this season.
You know what? He's been impressive so far. He hit a homer in his first exhibition game last week, and he's good defensively. He receives well, he throws well, and again, he swung some runners out, and so it's good to have him with us. And we knew he was a good catcher, but for him to swing the bat like that too, because he almost had another one yesterday too. He hit one good, and I think the wind was blowing across. If the wind wasn't blowing across, I think it would have been another homer. But if he can swing it, the way he's been swinging it, that would be a real nice add for us to have him.
Just looking at the last 2 days in particular, you had 3 outfield assists, 4 runners were thrown out trying to steal. The defense is looking really solid. Do you see this group as comparable to last year's team?
You know what? They've done good so far. They have looked, people have asked me how the team looks, and I've said, well, we don't hit enough because we have not hit enough yet, and we haven't pitched, good enough yet. We're just okay, but the defense has been good. They've been making the plays in most cases, and so, we saw what happened last year. We had that good defense, and it helped us have the year we had. So, as of right now, they're making the plays.
Just as a note for people for tomorrow night, who will wind up being your opening day starter?
Mark Hamburger will start opening night, and he'll be followed by Robert Coe, then Jeff Shields, and then John Straka. So, again, we feel we have 4 pretty good starters.
Excellent. Well, let us head to our fan questions this week. We first of all begin with Stan from Woodbury, who says, how do you see your rotation panning out this season? Do you think that they can match last season's group?
Yeah, last season's group, those were some quality starters, and obviously 3 of them are in Mexico now, and that was, to have those guys last year go 6, 7, 8 good innings, most starts. It's tough to match, but again, with Hamburger, Coe, Shields, and Straka, we feel we have 4 good ones, and it's before last year. If you said, hey, you have 4 guys win 10 plus games, you'd be like, no way. But you know what they did last year, you never know. And if any one of those 4 guys won 10 games, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Absolutely. Next, we have 2 questions from Mike from Chaska. The first one he asks is, people always talk about Kershaw and Bumgarner. Why is Max Scherzer not included in the discussion of top pitchers?
I don't know. Maybe he is. Some people do think he's one of the best ones, and Arrieta as well. You can probably put in there. But Scherzer, his stuff is electric stuff, and throws so hard, and he's high energy, and he is right in there in the top 5 starters in the big leagues.
Mike would also like to know from you, which do you find more impressive, throwing a no-hitter or striking out 20 in a game?
I heard that question the other day, and it is a tough one. But you know what? I guess there have been more no-hitters than guys. I don't know how many times a guy struck out 20 guys. I don't think it's that many times. So I would say that striking out 20 guys in a game is pretty impressive. And I do remember back in the day when Kerry Wood did it and Roger Clemens did it, but I don't remember too many other guys doing it. So that was amazing to be able to do that.
Next up, we have Carl from Maplewood. He says, what do you think of Clayton Kershaw throwing the eephus pitch? Why would a guy with that much talent waste his time on a gimmicky pitch?
Yeah, I did see the pitch, and I don't know, maybe the guy hits him well. Who knows? Maybe he was messing around. Maybe he was having fun. I don't know, but I think he knows what he's doing, and maybe he's just having a little fun that day.
I'm sure that kind of. I thought it looked like a strike, and the umpire seemed stunned that he threw it. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, maybe that was it. It was stunned.
Next, we have Chase from Des Moines, who says, George, I know you hate to see players get ejected for arguing. How did you feel about Bryce Harper not only getting ejected, but returning to the field to argue with the umpire? That led to him being suspended. If you were the manager, what would you say about that?
Yeah, well, one, yes, I absolutely hate when the player gets ejected because we need you in the game, and it does no good. There are no positives about a player getting thrown out of a game. I feel, that's one thing I feel really strongly about. You're not going to change his mind. You getting thrown out, all it does is hurt the team more, so don't say anything. And obviously he got thrown out, and then once that happens, you get caught up in the emotions, and it's just a matter of you hope you can keep your cool, and then the guy hits the walk-up, and he came back out, and the guy hit the walk-off home run to win the game, and he came out and said what he had to say, and probably wasn't the right thing to do, and I suspended for it.
How do you feel as a manager? Because obviously you're looking for guys that are fired up and out there to compete and give it their all. How do you try to temper that so it's like, look, you don't want to get yourself so you're getting thrown out in games?
Because I tell them 100 times, if you get thrown out, I'm not going to be very happy about it at all, and I make that very clear. I remember it was like 5 years ago, I think. We had a catcher on our team, and he got thrown out of a game. And I wouldn't even talk to the guy for 3 days. I didn't play him for 3 days because he did it. And there is no bonus for getting thrown out of a game. Just don't do it.
Well, I don't want to be on that list of you not talking to me, so let's see.
Well, guess what? Yeah, so if you get thrown out, then don't even call me anymore.
Ben from Brainerd asks, don't you think that fights on the field during games are getting ridiculous?
The fans love it. Most of the fights you see in the big leagues, it's a lot of just standing around and maybe a little shoving and, unnecessary. It's just like, yeah, maybe that part's ridiculous. But the fight we saw the other day, that was one major punch, and one of the best punches you'll ever see in in a baseball game. And you don't like to see it, but I know the fans love it, and especially the guy that got popped. I think a lot of fans around were not upset about it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Does Jose Bautista come across as that bad of a guy?
Well, I think the tipping the home runs, I think that rubs people the wrong way, and and I know he got drilled. They drilled him, and he was not happy about it, and he did slide past the base, and he admitted that it was an aggressive slide, but it was late, and especially with the rule changes, and so, guys don't like that, and and people are saying, well, it was cowardly that they waited till his last at bat, and maybe so, but that's what happens.
Speaking of that particular topic, Eric from Mankato asks, doesn't it seem like every time a guy hits a home run and admires it for half a second, some quote-unquote baseball purist cries about how dare that guy would do that? Are you as sick of this as me?
It's I don't know, I'm not a fan of guys standing there and admiring it, but whatever, it is what it is. It happens, and there's times pitchers, when they suck a guy out, they do their little thing too. So it works both ways, and it's just the way baseball is. If you don't like the guy standing there and hitting it, then I guess don't let him hit it, I guess.
Paul from Cottage Grove asks of you, George, did you see that home run by Bartolo Colon? Could you jack one like that?
I did not see the home run. I didn't see it. I heard about it, and I absolutely could not hit a home run. And as sad as it is, and it's so embarrassing. It's like I've never hit a home run in my whole life. Never. Not Little League, high school, nothing. And it's a joke. And I wish I could experience hitting a home run, but never have. And maybe one day I'll get over it one day.
Well, if that's being a major league guy, if that's the worst thing that can be said about you, that's still quite a career you got going for you there. So,
well, it would have been nice, even as a kid. As a kid, especially when the home runs mean more, but never even hit one, and it's a sad day.
Next up, we have Kevin from St. Paul who'd like to know: do you prefer Lou Lucas hair or Chaz Turney's sideburns?
Definitely not Lou Lucas hair. Not a fan, and Hamburger's hair is pretty close. So you guys will see Hamburger's hair on Thursday. You'll see it. But I guess he likes it. It looks good on him, though. So it's just, as long as he likes it, is what matters, I guess.
Exactly. Our last question this week comes from Mary from Minneapolis, who says, it was Friday the 13th last week, George. Are you superstitious about anything?
Not really. Nope. Just go out there and win games, and but just go out there and win games.
Awesome. Well, George, thanks for joining us this week.
Okay, thank you. I'll see you later, okay?
We want to thank Manager George Tsamis for joining us on Strike Zone this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the St. Paul Saints skipper, please send them to us at AskGeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's AskGeorge@minorleaguesportsreport.com. Now that we're into the season, we ask that you submit your questions to us by Saturday evening, as we will record the show from now on Sundays. I want to thank you for joining us again this week. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next week on Strike Zone.